My name is Kevin Bayuk, and I'm a permaculture designer living here in San Francisco. This is my garden that we're standing in right now. I rent an apartment in an Edwardian home, 1 block off of Haight Street. Permaculture to me is utilize design science to utilize principles, ecological principles of nature that one can observe, you or I can observe, working in natural systems. We can translate those patterns into designs, and observing how those patterns work, the principles that seem to drive those patterns, applying those principles to the designs to design our lives, to meet all of our needs. So our needs for food, water, shelter, community, loving relationships, comfort, all of those needs. Permaculture provides a way, a pathway to meet all those needs abundantly without taking away from the natural ecosystems. In fact, enhancing them, giving back, providing more conditions conducive to life. Have you ever been on the airplane and they say if the cabin begins to lose pressure, put your mask on first before helping the person next to you? In some ways, that's, to me, analogous to what we're doing here. In order for me to be effective in helping somebody else, I really need to understand how to take care of my own needs first. And it's at the heart of permaculture, really. The prime directive of permaculture is to be able to take care of your needs first, and then, as soon as you are adequate in that, skilled in that, to begin sharing. The total irony is here where we're bathing in Babylonian affluence. It's like, oh God, I don't even want to know how to take care of my own needs. I can barely pay my rent. I mean, all my costs for my car, gasoline. Look at gasoline prices. I mean, I have the hour-and-a-half commute. Really, when we step back, though, those are all strategies. Nobody has to go to work. They choose to go to work as a strategy to get the money to pay the rent because they want to have a particular sense of comfort or whatever they want in their life. There's a lot of different strategies to meet those needs. And once we start seeing those strategies, we can begin to design. If I pick that strategy, wow, I can meet both needs at once. If I move to within walking distance where my current job is, all of a sudden I shave off that hour commute every day back and forth. So that's 2 more hours to my day. The redesign of one's life, you can find that there is just an abundance of time and energy if we pick strategies that really are fulfilling us and meeting our needs. Trees are an example of a design decision of how you're going to meet your needs. Santa Rosa plum here definitely yields plums, but it also creates a certain amount of precipitation. There's a lot of fog coming through in San Francisco, a lot of moisture in the air, and the leaves and the branches of the tree are able to precipitate that water and create additional watering for the garden, which is important in a climate where we're almost sub-arid, semi-arid, 20 or so inches a year on average. By looking at forests and seeing how productive they are, the question arises, is there a way we can mimic the pattern of what a forest is providing and design a horticulture, an agriculture that will serve our needs for food, but create all these additional benefits for life? It's very almost cliche in permaculture now is the herb spiral. You take a 5.5 feet or 6 foot or diameter circle, and initially when we had first mounted this up, we mounted up some compost and some soil about 4 feet high or so, or a little bit higher. Then we took this urbanite. Urbanite, of course, is broken up concrete. Typically, this ends up in the landfill. Do you know how much landfill or how much garbage goes out of San Francisco every day? 6 million pounds of garbage. So taking this resource that was going to be in the landfill, this couple 100 pounds of concrete, and stacking it in this spiral around that mound, what we created was additional planting space. So that's a design element. We're playing with space, and we're also playing with time in certain ways because there's a successionary principle that we can use that certain herbs will be growing at certain different times of season. We jokingly call weeds carbon pathways because they're still collecting the photons and capturing carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere and adding carbon into the soil. A lot of people have the habit and pattern, we're just pulling weeds all the time and they just keep coming back. Well, yeah, they're going to keep coming back because you're creating conditions conducive to the weeds. They're pioneering, they're trying to amend the soil, they're capturing the carbon. They have a lifetime too. In succession, if we just let them there, over time, they probably wouldn't grow once the soil becomes rich enough so that it's not amenable to them, somebody else would come in. Soil's really built in forests and perennial grasslands. Few places in Earth where soil really builds. Building soil, of course, is the absolute contrapositive from all agriculture that we've seen over the last few thousand years. Traditional agriculture is an example of drawing away from natural ecosystems, destroying soil, having a wash away, having all the nutrients, and life. Deserts have a lot less life. Some of the biomass yield, especially from the trees and the perennials, and of course what I don't eat from the annual vegetables, and I harvest that on a regular basis into a pile that I make that's typically 3.5 or 4 feet by a 4-foot cube essentially. And then I add manure that the ducks provide. I wet it all down with pond water from the bathtub pond. That's the 300-pound cast iron tub with surrounded by 300 or 400 pounds of urbanite. And every morning my meditative ritual is to come out and turn the compost pile. I'm either turning the pile or I'm building the next pile. And it gets really hot. It gets up to say 130, 140, 150 degrees, somewhere in there. I tend to urinate on the pile. For me, it's better than flushing down 3 to 5 gallons of drinking water down into the combined storm drain sewer system in San Francisco. In about 18 days, I get somewhere around 47,000 cubic inches of great compost soil, which I then return to the garden to create the beds. Well, with the ducks in particular, which are somewhat new to the system, we get an incredible yield. So every morning we get some 3 to 4 eggs or so, and so I get my breakfast typically that 3-egg omelet with some onion or different greens mixed into a little omelet, so I can have breakfast every morning. And there's enough here that I can have lunch, a salad. There's a diversity of greens. There's some 60 different edible greens in this garden. I think the disaster is here. If you asked anybody else in the world without the white skin and the Christian name, they would tell you that there is a disaster that's about. I believe that the crisis is already acute in here. I'm not necessarily feeling it just because of my bioregion and where I am in space and time. Many other people are feeling it very acutely every day. I'm going to put all my energy that I feel drawn to it, inspired, just to focus all my intention on the solutions and then to share those with as many people as possible.